The Nexon compact SUV is the next big thing coming up from Tata Motors. We've already brought you our exhaustive first drive impression of the diesel version of the car. What I have with me today is the petrol version. Let's see how it is. The focus of this video is the engine. This Nexon uses a 3-cylinder 1.2-litre petrol engine. This unit is a derivative of the engine that powers the Tiago and Tigor, though this version sees the addition of turbocharging and variable valve timing on the exhaust side too. Thanks to the turbo, power and torque figures are a healthy 110 HP and 170 Newton meters. The Nexon also has an edge in its use of a 6-speed manual gearbox. So how does it all come together? Let's start with a word on refinement. Idle on the Nexon is fairly quiet, and you don't really get those vibrations that you almost expect from a 3-cylinder engine, which is so small, just 1.2 liters. It's just that when you get going, the engine does tend to sound a bit gruff. It's not really noisy, but you can hear it. And when you do extend it, obviously it does that trashy, thrummy note that 3-cylinder engines are just known for. Just like the diesel Nexon, the petrol Nexon also gets 3 driving modes: Eco, City and Sport. Each of these driving modes basically have their own power and torque ratings, and they do have an impact on the driving experience. Performance is downright dull in Eco mode, and the economy enhancing measures just take away from the driving experience. The only thing is, at times you can sense that fueling is a bit snappy. The car tends to jerk a bit when you get off the throttle, for instance, but that is the price to pay if you want to extend each litre of petrol. City mode comes across as a better compromise. Fueling is smoother, you have more access to power, and in general it's more than sufficient for average driving duties. Of course, you see the best of the engine in sport mode. You can sense the engine is revving freer, it revs deeper as well. It goes all the way up to 6000 RPM, and performance does seem better. It makes the Nexon feel a bit more sprightly. But on the whole, this is not the most exciting of engines. The build-up of power is quite flat, and there's no real surge anywhere in the rev band. You'll need to be above 3000 RPM to get the most out of the engine, but with the limiter cutting in at 5500 RPM in Eco and City modes and 6000 RPM in Sport, the power band is quite narrow. Anyone also looking for an exciting petrol SUV will also be slightly disappointed by the gearbox. Now, it's not as slick or as crisp as it ought to have been, but it is nice enough to use. You do have to put in some effort to slot it into the gears. Gears 3 and above are also too tall for the power characteristics of the engine. The climb up the guards to Idukki only highlighted the Nexon Petrol's lack of bottom end poke. I just wish the engine was more exciting, because the Nexon has the other ingredients of a great driver's car. Find a curvy road and you'll know why. The Nexon really drives well. There's a good amount of feel and feedback from the steering wheel. It weights up really well. Light in the city, good amount of weight on roads like this. It's quite nice. What also helps the experience are the levels of grip. You can really push this car around. Body roll is also pretty well contained given the Nexon's height. If you've driven a diesel Nexon, you'll note a bit more up and down movement here, but on the whole, ride quality is really impressive. And that 209mm of ground clearance means you won't need to slow down for much. As for the rest of the Nexon, it looks like a concept car, and I think I speak for the majority when I say it's so stylish you'd want one just for the way it looks. The radical exterior is complemented by a stylish and practical cabin you'd be happy to spend long hours in. And to quickly recap, front seat comfort is good, and there's also more space in the back than there appears to be. I'm 5 feet 11 inches tall and found headroom and knee room ample. Also, Tata claims the luggage area is large enough to hold a washing machine in its box. I didn't have a washing machine handy to test the claim, but did find the option to split and fold the rear seats useful. Tata Motors hasn't given the variant breakup as yet, but what we do know is dual airbags and ABS will be standard across the range. Top spec cars meanwhile will get lots of goodies, including a 6.5-inch touchscreen based infotainment system. It's not the slickest of systems to use but does come with Android Auto and will get Apple CarPlay by launch as well. And just like the other new Tatas, the 8-speaker sound system sounds like it belongs to a far more expensive car. There's something else too that you'd get in a more expensive car. One of the cool features on the Tata Nexon is the Smart Activity Key, which is something we've actually seen before on the Jaguar F-Pace. Well, this is it. What it does is it replaces the need to carry the physical key fob. Say you want to go out running or swimming, you don't really need to carry the key. All you need to do, come close to the car, the doors will open up, press the starter button, and you're good to go. The Nexon launches in late September this year and prices are likely to range from 7 to 9.5 lakh rupees ex-showroom, with the petrol expected to be the more affordable of the two engine options. There's no announcement on fuel economy numbers as yet, but the petrol is unlikely to match the diesel on this front. On the whole, the petrol engine is adequate but doesn't feel quite as complete as the diesel. So, were it my money, it's the diesel Nexon I'd be waiting for.
इसी कभी न रुकने वाले जुनून को रफ्तार देता है सर्वो वर्ल्ड क्लास लुब्रिकेंट्स।